Caffeine. Okay, this is it. This might be the last video. I think this is the last video. This is it. My search is over. There's no need to look any further. I found the one project. I found the one altcoin to invest all my money into. We're talking about a micro cap that's so small with the potential to go to the moon, making billions for anyone who invests in it. I'm of course talking about QREDO or QREDO, however you want to say it. I'm the YouTube guy, so I'm probably going to go back and forth. So don't blame me. Leave a comment if you think that's the wrong spelling. But this project looks absolutely amazing. This video is not going to go way in depth into the whole project and all the details about it. There's too much in this project to cover in one video that's going to make it appealing for people to want to watch. But what I will say right at the beginning, if you just want the long and short of it, is I really like it. I think it's a great project. I think it has a lot of potential at what I've seen. I've been doing research for a few days now, and I actually got to the point where I had to stop because I wanted to just make the video, give you my thoughts on it. I will continue doing research because I plan on actually using it in the long run, and if I come across anything, I'll do a revision there. But what I would love to know is if you have any comments on it, if you've actually interacted with things you think are the opposite of what I'm saying here, and maybe you've been looking at it longer and you have something against it, please let me know. I want to know because I've only done so much research, and at the end of the day, you should do your own research too. You shouldn't just be listening to the opinion of some YouTube guy, right? You're gonna do your own research, right? Right? Okay, now that we've kind of got that out of the way, let me give you the reasons why I think this project is absolutely fantastic. I think it's fantastic because it solves one of the major problems for making crypto go mainstream. One of the things that's stopping crypto from going mainstream, as we know, is government regulations. Now, there's nothing that's going to change that other than the government, but there are the regulation part of it that make institutional investors a little shaky when it comes to putting a bunch of money into crypto. Do you really think a hedge fund with $1 billion is going to just get a MetaMask wallet and start dumping money into any project they went out there? Probably not. Now, I know there's plenty of other alternate services out there that are offering institutional adoption ways and capabilities out there, and massive projects that we've already seen that are really catering to those people. But they're still very unsure because it doesn't satiate all the problems. There's still security problems. There's still many transparency problems. There's a lot of regulation and sort of related to investors and following the KYC and following known traveler rules. And there's certain rules that they want to make sure they adhere to before they even get in anyway. So a big part of this is going to be institutional investors getting involved in crypto. And in order for them to do that, they need to feel very confident about it. There is going to be regulations that they're going to need to see before they really jump in. But on top of it, they're going to need to know that what they're getting into is easily managed for them and follows a lot of suit of the way they already do business. Now, they deal in securities all the time, right? We're talking about massive, massive billion-dollar companies that move a lot of money through a lot of different securities, real estate, commodities, securities like the stock market. So they have already methods of doing this. They don't really want to reinvent the wheel and slow business down. They want to just keep making a bunch of money. Although if there was a bunch of money, they'd probably figure it out. That said, they really want the same sort of experience that they've already used to. QREDO actually aims to go and adjust that. They're actually trying to bring a wallet and an infrastructure that caters to institutional investors. And you can see this right on their homepage. Now, when we land on their homepage, you can see that they've paired with MetaMask. Now, pairing alone is a massive thing as you want to see. You want to see projects working with other projects in the crypto space because it starts to bring some validity to it, and MetaMask is an absolutely massive one. Really quickly, speaking of pairings, look at all these companies that they're actually working with. Now, that's a big list and a lot of names we've all heard of. So that's another massive tick when it comes to looking at projects that are working with people. A lot of these have gone on record as saying, and verifying that they're actually very excited for what QREDO is actually putting out. So jumping back into why I think it's important is the institutional investors are obviously going to bring a lot to it. And so you're asking, well, what does this bring to institutional investors that they're so concerned about? The first thing it really tries to bring is what they call MPC, multi-party computation, which aims to take care of the single point of failure of sharing private security keys. Now, private keys are still generally held on SQL databases when they're storing massive amounts of data, or you have multiple wallets, or you have all this information being transferred to and from different blockchains. So this is one of the things that they actually want to reduce completely. And by putting in multi-chain computation, it will allow for there to be multiple parties involved, all working to solve an answer, like securing a transaction, and they don't all have the pieces to it. Now, I'm not going to cover all multi-party computation, and I know that was a really crappy explanation of it, so go look into it. They actually have an article right here on their website about it. It's actually a really easy little read, and it explains it in much better detail, so please go ahead and do a little bit of research on that, because it was a very interesting read for me, knowing especially what comes out of this little video here once you get down, which was an example I'll give you right now. The example used in this video is that a ride-sharing company may want to have to share its information with the governing body around all their pickup locations so that the governing body can better allocate resources to those places, those hotspots where they pick up a lot, and deal with traffic resources. So there's going to have to be management from the road traffic authority dealing with all these ride-share people showing up, causing congestion in a massive urban area. The only problem is that each ride-share company doesn't want to share its data with other competition. How do you avoid this data being shared without being potentially just misplaced, corporate espionage, or just getting into the wrong hands by hackers? You use multi-party computations, which allow the information to be shared, verifying certain data without all the parties knowing what their individual pieces are, all the keys they have. Now, when it comes to normal multi-sig wallets, it goes on to show that there's actually a different way that multi-sigs will still funnel through to a single point of failure. So again, I would really advise reading into these articles and diving into it a little bit deeper. I plan to do a little bit more of a deep dive into it, but again, this is not the main part of the video. So talking about multi-party computation is just one part. That's a security aspect that they look to aim and really make sure that institutional buyers are sold on that object. But the other part is that what they're actually building is a wallet. This wallet will allow institutional investors to manage assets from a central location across multi-chain. Now that's fantastic. It even looks to be implementing multi-chain swaps or atomic swaps across platforms. In this little diagram, you can see a very quick example of the layering system that they're going to be putting in place. Underneath at the very bottom is blockchain. So they do rely on blockchain, and I believe it is EVM compatible, or it will be EVM compatible, so it's working on the Ethereum network at this current juncture. Now, layer 2 and layer 3 are part of the QREDO network, and that's where institutional investors will actually communicate and do their trades on top of. The network that they're going to be putting in place will be a centralized network at first, being held in data centers, where they aim to eventually move this to a decentralized model. Currently, it is under a company that is owned by QREDO, and again, like I said, it is a centralized model where they're held in such special databases that have high ratings that are more enticing to institutional investors. This is not always going to be the case, though. They have cited many times throughout the documentation, they keep mentioning decentralization eventually, allowing nodes to be purchased or at least got by some people out in the normal space. Now, whether or not that will be free to anyone, I do not know, but there are a whole plan of rewards and a general sort of on-chain rewards set aside for people who get involved and help make a decentralized model for this platform. So it's bringing decentralization, it's bringing a little bit of security, and it's allowing institutional investors to actually manage all their assets from one single place using their wallet. So currently they actually have a working wallet. There is a fee associated with using their wallet, and it doesn't seem to be too crazy. The BPS stands for basis points, and that's a fraction of a percent. So it's a fraction of a percent is what you're gonna pay on peer-to-peer trading and entry and exits. As you can see, withdrawals there will be over here. But right now you can currently use it for free if you want to just have your own hosted multi-chain wallet. Now, as to what I can tell from the roadmap, they don't have it super connected to every protocol they want to, but that's a part of the roadmap that they keep updating. And as you can see in the updated roadmap, they actually have a number of digital assets that they're looking to implement very soon. And what you can see is a number of layer ones that we want to see involved. We don't want to see some obscure chain that they've partnered with not being integrated, not only for many years, but also just kind of like, why do I want that one? I want to see Solana, I want to see Cardano, Avalanche, Terra. I want to see these things introduced sooner than later because those are the things I'm using anyway. If you go over to the blog section on their website, you can actually see an updated chart where they keep bringing out today new updated tokenomics, updated roadmaps, and they're very transparent about all the information they're trying to put out there, which I really appreciate. The updated roadmap actually puts out a number of changes they wish to do in the future, obviously. Not only are these the things that retail investors are using, but they're also the things that institutional investors are also interested in long term. So, what's up guys, Stuart from the future, and I really quickly wanted to throw this in there because I realized that I didn't cover one of the biggest topics that I always look for in a project, and I did look into it much earlier on, which got me really excited early on, was the team that's involved with it. And if you go look at it, go check out their about section on their website, go click on every single person. Every one of them has some sort of VC relationship for many years. They've been doing this either as VCs, they have some cryptography background. There's plenty of people with blockchain, people who've been working over at Binance and Huobi. Like there's some big players in there or people who've been doing stuff very similar to this. And this really shows. What I will say is that you can tell that whoever's putting this project together really knows what they're doing. In order order to keep this video, again, somewhat attainable for most people, to just be a quick piece of information to really get you involved and maybe want to do your own research on this product, I'm really trying to make it just so I can give you enough to entice you to go do your own research. Like I said, there's way too much to cover in this video or in this project to put in one video to make it attainable for everybody. But the project seems to have a lot of things going for it. And I think the biggest thing we need to cover back again is that it's aiming to help a solution for institutional investors. Now, if we think about it right now, retail investors, we currently have all the assets we have involved inside of the crypto space is about $2 trillion. Now that's the equivalent of Apple's stock price. That's one US company. That's really not that much money when you think about it. Some of these hedge funds work with hundreds of billions of dollars. So institutional investors getting into crypto is really gonna bring it to the mainstream. So I think more solutions geared towards them are gonna be the play. So if you do see any other institutional based projects out there, please leave a comment below. I'm very interested in that. And if you watch my channel many times before, or any of the videos I've put out, you will see that I really do like projects that are aiming to please many people or very big parties that are going to help a lot of people bring more rewards to the space and allow it more easily attainable for groups. Individual projects that aim for one specific party or very niche party, they just, in my opinion, just don't have the longevity because someone will inevitably come over and just trump them and crush them down into the obscurity. Things that are underlying base assets that allow for massive adoption or will allow for a massive amount of people to get involved have a better chance of maintaining it for the long run. Before I go off and give you a little bit of a price prediction from myself, I really want to talk about the transparency. They have a lot of information involved. So if you're at all interested in this project, you need to go over to their website and check it out. You can go check it out through CoinMarketCap and go through their website there, but it's really just QREDO.com. And right here, I'm actually showing you four papers that they actually have built out: light paper, white paper, yellow paper, token paper. There's 100 pages worth of data and information here. And as we saw, the token paper has already been updated. They have some updated roadmaps. They have some updated tokenomics in their blog post, but there is a lot of information right here. And the best part is they actually included a yellow paper, which a lot of people don't know is actually the very high-tech version. It's the mathematics, or quite often the high computation version of what they're trying to accomplish. So the fact that they have that included with just a general synopsis and the light paper and white paper are fantastic to me. So there's a lot of information here, not to mention they have a lot of videos on setup, 101, how to get involved with the company, and they're really huge in their own community. They have a brand ambassador program, which they're aiming to push out more content and get the awareness out there for many people. And actually, if you want to make a little bit of money, there's a chance to win some tokens if you actually get involved with it. I'll leave a link below for the ambassador program out there. That said, I'm not actually involved in it, so there's no bias here, and I actually haven't purchased any of these tokens, but obviously I am a little bit of bias on my research I've done so far. So again, do your own research and don't take the opinion of just some YouTube guy. So really quickly, if we head over to the price chart so we can have a look at a prediction here, we can see that over the last 7 days, we've seen a little bit of a rise here, about a 20-25% rise and fall. And we've seen that action probably following the altcoins that's going with Bitcoin right now. If I zoom out, we can see a nice little spike around the times we want to see. Now, I keep referring to this just in case anyone's catching up with my channel. One of the things I always look for is that it follows the Bitcoin cycle. It follows what Bitcoin's doing because that's what the major altcoins do. Now, if you have something that's trajectory way out of that course, or they're not quite following and going in the peaks and valleys following sort of those massive high runs from Bitcoin, then we've got a little bit of a problem. And I really like to see the fact that it's following a similar model. Now that we're here, we're looking at a high of about $9.5, which was where it was at. It's currently sitting at under $3, just shy of, and was closer down by $2.20 a little bit earlier, just a few weeks ago actually. And what that brings us to is a market cap of 150 million. So we're really talking serious micro cap right now, which again, if this has what it purports to put out there and what it's trying to aim to solve, if it becomes one of the major players, again, seeing all the other institutional support that's out there, a lot of the partners that they're working with, if they really can help bring this to the forefront and involve with a lot of institutions, we're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company. So hands down, easy, a 10x from here is nothing, is absolutely nothing. Because 150, 10x, that would be 1.5 billion. I could easily see that making a 1.5 billion. Like, that's a no-brainer. How is that not necessarily gonna get to $1 billion if it handles hundreds of billions of dollars on its network, right? There's a no-brain to that. So even if you wanna look at this on a conservative set, which I'm gonna give you that conservative price chart right now, I'm gonna say a $30. I'm gonna do a 10x from here, easily putting that in $1.5 billion, no problem. Now, long term, now again, if we're talking about, this is a protocol that eventually allows institutional investors to bring hundreds of billions of extra and really adding or allowing institutions to add to the massive market cap of the total asset class. Like we're talking going from 2 trillion and maybe there's like $1 trillion going through this. I know it's a big number. This could be worth several $100 billion because then it's gonna be the medium between all those, it's gonna liaise for all those people. I think even $30 as a price point is a low for this. That said, I think it has a little bit of time to go. Don't get too greedy right now. We are seeing a sideways channel for Bitcoin at the current, and we do have another Bitcoin halving cycle coming up. Will this do this run? I don't know. But if you want one of those long-term holds, like your grandparents might have told you to buy Microsoft years ago, or AT&T or Bell phones or whatever their version of it was back then, you want to get in on this one now. It's at $2. If you want to do a long-term hold, maybe DCA into it over the long term, that might be just the play for you. Again, there really was too much to cover as a very in-depth video. I just think that if you are at all interested in anything I had to say in this video, that you should head on over and start doing your own research. Go look at some of my other videos and look how I generally follow through, checking out the Explorer, checking out the team, and just vetting all the information that causes a little bit of a doubt in your mind. If you can go answer that and find a solution to it, then it probably means that it's something that you can at least consider a little bit further. Don't take the opinion of just some guy on YouTube. Now, with all of that said, you know what time it is. It is time to leave a comment. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it. Again, if you think there's anything in there I've missed or anything in there that you think I got wrong, please leave me a comment. I would love to be educated otherwise or know your information and your reasonings why you think this is a project. And I do got to give a shout out to the guy who actually brought this to my attention. It was one of my viewers. So this is one of the reasons that I want you guys to comment. I wouldn't have found out about it if it wasn't for one of you. So please leave it down here. If I actually find his name, I'm going to put it here in the comment section, or I'm going to put it here in the video. But please go ahead, leave me those comments. Let me know of any other projects that are very similar to this. Again, bigger infrastructure ones I really do like, but I also do like to find those real serious moonshots that might even have a lot of play on them, like some metaverse plays or some gamify plays. So let me know down in the comments. And at this point, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you want to. If there's any value you got out of this and you think that this was worth it all your time, I appreciate it. It really does help the channel. And I think I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully I made this attainable for you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.